Hey everyone, another day, another handheld, with this one being the Anbernic RG40XXV. The RG40XXV is the latest vertical in Anbernic's XX range, which have all been powered by the tried and tested all-winner H700 CPU. The RG40XXV's differentiators between it and previous XX handhelds, or even previous vertical XX handhelds, is likely going to be its super clean look, except perhaps for that joystick anyway, with some super thin bezels and pretty thin frame overall. You can pick it up with delivery and taxes included for just over the $75 mark with the right coupon code from GoGameGeek, who were kind enough to supply this unit for review. So, in terms of specs, the Anbernic RG40XXV is powered by the all-winner H700, so that will give us access to some, but far from all, of the Nintendo 64 and Dreamcast game catalogues. Other than that, we've got 1GB of RAM, a 4-inch display at a resolution of 640 by 480, a 3200 mAh battery, a weight of around 215 grams, and Anbernic's Linux-based operating system we've seen in the other XX handhelds. And to round off the specs, we've also got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and a mini HDMI out port too. So, straight out of the box, it's apparent that the Anbernic RG40XXV is a sleek-looking vertical handheld. If we compare it to both the R33S and Anbernic's own RG35XX Plus handhelds, it does look the most premium out of the three. Avoiding some of the uneven blemishes of the R33S's shell and looking sleeker with an all-white look compared to the RG35XX Plus. The Anbernic RG40XXV feels good in the hand thanks to a more premium feeling plastic used for its shell, and other than the joystick has a very clean front design. Underneath you can see that the joystick is recessed, as well as its USB-C port and headphone jack. On the left side we have the first microSD slot, as well as a slightly recessed volume buttons. On the right side we've got a second microSD card slot, as well as the power and reset buttons, which are also slightly recessed. On top we've got a couple of LEDs and the mini HDMI out, as well as a top-down view of the inline shoulder buttons, which gives a good indication of the thinness of the handheld too. In terms of controls, the Anbernic RG40XXV is certainly and thankfully a D-pad first handheld, with the D-pad and face buttons being the most natural and comfortable grip for the handheld. The D-pad itself is a great Anbernic D-pad, with it being a nice size, slightly stiff feel, which has a good overall resistance to it, allowing for precision control in all directions. It's one of those D-pads that you can always feel what you're doing with and respond quickly and responsively, so no complaints here from me. Equally, the face buttons are also great, again with a nice size to them and a level of response that allows for both precise button presses and button mashing, regardless of what game you're playing. The recessed joystick is okay, though it does suffer from the cardinal snapping that we've seen in previous Anbernic handhelds, which stops it from feeling like it gives you true analog control and feels more like an arcade joystick in terms of how it snaps two directions, especially given how restricted movement it has by being recessed too. I'm never a big fan of the inline clicky style shoulder buttons, but the ones seen in the Anbernic RG40XXV aren't terrible to be fair, and at least have a slant and spacing to them which allows you to easily find the buttons you want to press. In terms of firmware, the out-of-the-box Anbernic Linux option will be familiar to anyone who's seen previous XX Anbernic handhelds. To be fair, this has been getting better by each release, which is always good, though still has the slightly confusing split between the games rooms and RetroArch, which chances are you'll always want to be spending as much time as possible within the RetroArch section. The mini HDMI port is very much a plug-and-play option, which is always great to see, and with access to wireless and Bluetooth means that the RG40XXV could act as a little plug-in multiplayer handheld for those that would like to make use of this functionality. Otherwise, we've got access to a lot of settings, allowing for control of the backlight brightness and other LED settings, the internal date and time, full access to RetroArch, the network settings, and so on. We also have access to a number of setting apps, somewhat hidden within the apps folder in the apps section, which allows you to switch bezels, auto-load settings, and much more relatively easily. What's more is we've also got support from customware firmware options too, so all in all, Anbernic's RG40XXV is pretty robust from a software point of view. With that said, I'll cut some gameplay footage now before summarising back up at the end. So, in summary, the Anbernic RG40XXV has a lot going for it and is up there with being one of the best of Anbernic's XX range, making it a firm recommendation. Although it may not be the best upgrade choice, especially for those with an existing H700 handheld, its premium look and feel that pushes above its asking price does make it a good starter handheld for those looking to get into retro gaming. That's it for now though, thanks so much for watching.